Howdy everyone, this is Trisha and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be making carnitas. Carnitas are a pork meat and they are fried. But I'm going to change this recipe just a little bit. I'm not going to be doing it the traditional way. I'm going to change it up to simplify it and make it a little bit less scary, because sometimes cooking in lots of oil can be scary. And not only that, but we're going to be cutting down on fat. For our carnitas, I'm going to be using pork. This is a shoulder roast pork. And what I've done is I've cut it up into some larger chunks. This piece here is the bone, so I've left some of the meat on there and some of the fat. I did remove this, a large layer of fat. You can choose to go ahead and use that if you want. I'm going to go ahead and take that out. And I'm going to be putting this in the slow cooker. So again, this is not a traditional way. It is just an easy way for us to make ourselves some carnitas and still be able to enjoy the delicious flavor. And speaking of flavor, this is what's going to add flavor to our pork. So here I've got a cup of orange juice, and I have the one that has the pulp in it, so that's why it looks kind of odd like that. I prefer that. If you want to squeeze out your own orange juice, go right ahead and do that. That would be awesome. I've got a couple of limes here, and here I have these three different dried chiles. This is optional. If you don't want to use these, you can use chili powder, a bit of paprika, maybe a little bit of cayenne. So my chilies are chile de arbol. These are a little bit hot. If you cannot stand any heat, leave those out completely. This darker chile here is a pasilla. I will put the recipe, the ingredients down below, so don't worry about not understanding what I'm saying. But this is a pasilla chile, and I'm using 2 of those. And I've got chile ancho, and I've got a couple of those as well. And here I've got about 4 garlic cloves. If you prefer to use garlic powder, go right ahead, but I prefer fresh garlic for this particular recipe. Here I've got my seasonings. I've got ground black pepper. I've got a teaspoon of salt, 2 teaspoons of ground cumin, 2 teaspoons of dried oregano, and here I've got some bay leaves. This is all going to go into the slow cooker with our pork. To top off our pork, I've got some cilantro. I'm going to shred up some cabbage, slice up some onions. I've got salsa. Use pico de gallo if you prefer to make some fresh pico de gallo, or whatever salsa you prefer. I do recommend a salsa verde for this. Here I've got some fresh crema. If you don't find crema mexicana, you can use yogurt for this particular little drizzle that I'm going to make, with paprika, which is down there, and some cayenne pepper. You can use chili powder instead of paprika if you don't have that. Now we're going to fry up our carnitas once they're out of the slow cooker in a little bit of shortening. I would prefer to use lard, but I forgot to purchase that at the grocery store, so I'm going to use my shortening. To make our taquitos, we are going to be using corn tortillas. I have chosen yellow corn tortillas because I love the flavor. They seem to have a more earthy, grainier flavor than the regular white corn tortillas, and this pairs up really, really well with the pork. If you don't find them, use the white ones. Some of you may even opt to use flour tortillas, but I highly recommend corn tortillas. All right, everyone, as you can see here, this is all chopped up and ready to be put into my slow cooker. But first I need to prepare these chiles. So I've got a pot on the stove boiling, and these are going to go into that pot for 5 to 7 minutes. We'll be using our blender, and then we'll be using an additional pot to do some frying. And I forgot to mention that we're going to be using half an onion for our recipe as well. All right, everyone, I've got my pot of boiling water, and I've added all of my chiles in there. So there we go. We're going to let that boil for about 5 to 7 minutes till they get soft. In my blender, I've got the onion, the seasonings, and the garlic already in there. And they're just waiting for those chiles and the orange juice. All right, everyone, another thing I forgot to mention was to remove all the stems from your dried chili peppers. You might want to pop them open, and also let all the dried seeds that are inside out of your chili pods. I forgot to do that, but here are my stems. They've been removed. Okay, chiles are now done boiling, and they're nice and soft. We're going to take them over to the blender. All right, I put the chiles in the blender with about a 1/4 cup of that boiling, the boiled water. I'm going to add the cup of orange juice. We're going to cover this up and liquefy it. All right, now into my slow cooker, I'm going to place this piece that has the bone in it at the bottom. And I already have it on high. Put all the pieces in there. Now I can pour over my pureed chile with the orange juice. I'll put a little bit of that boiled water in there and pour the rest of that out. All right, now I've added the bay leaves and I squeezed half a lime. Now I'm squeezing the second lime. I've washed my lime really well. So I'm going to go ahead and throw those halves right in there. If you use fresh oranges to squeeze out the juice, make sure your oranges are nice and washed as well. And then you can throw those rinds right in there and add a little bit more flavor. Okay, this is going to get covered up and I'm going to put it on high for 4 hours, you guys. All right, everyone, it is 4 hours later and I've been kind of pulling little pieces off to see how easily they come off. Okay, it comes right off like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this pork out of the slow cooker and I'm going to start pulling off as much of the pork as I can, because remember there was one piece that had a bone, and I think it's this one right here that I'm touching. It feels hard when I try to grab it. So I'm going to pull this out. There we go. I'm going to pull this all out of here and start pulling off all the pork off of it. I'm going to use a couple of forks to just kind of separate it a bit. Okay, and then we need to get a frying pan ready so we can give this a little bit of a fry, because you know the carnitas are known because they have these little areas where, you know, they've been fried because you cook them traditionally in a pot of oil. But I've chosen to do it this way just to cut on that. All right, so I'll be back once I've gotten this all out and started pulling it apart. All right, everyone, so here has been the shredding process. I'm taking this fork and then just grabbing a piece and pulling it apart with both forks. Forgive me that my video is in this style this week, or for this Friday. Anyway, here we go. I'm not feeling well. But this pork will make me feel better in a little bit. Okay, so that's what I'm doing. I'm just pulling it apart, and you saw that it came off really easily off that piece right here. So that's what I'm doing, and I'm just going to shred the whole thing. I don't know if I mentioned, I put a couple of chicken breasts in the slow cooker because my husband won't eat pork. I'm actually sending this over to my mom's house, and I'm going to have some. But this chicken breast, I put it in there on the very, very top, and it cooked really nicely, and there it is. So now all I'm going to do, after I've shredded, I've got a pan ready. I'm going to put some of that Crisco shortening and fry these up, and then I'm also going to make the crema that I have, that I showed you at the beginning, with some of that paprika and the cayenne and some lime. So I'll be back. All right, so I'm adding a good full spoon here of the shortening here. And you can just add as much or little as you want. Typically you would add a lot more. And like I said, lard would be probably better for this because it will give it a really good flavor to the pork. And so that would be the ideal. But I didn't have that, so I'm using my shortening. Okay, so I'm going to keep this at a medium to high temperature. And then I'm going to start dropping the pork in there. Okay, so I've gotten all my pork in here and I've been letting it fry up a little bit in this oil. And some parts here that are kind of gotten seared. I've been turning it to make sure that other bits get seared as well. You also want to taste it and decide if you need to add more salt or pepper to it, a little more seasoning. So I've added a little bit of both. And I'm just going to turn it so that other pieces can get, see that right there? You want lots of pieces like that that are nice and seared. That's what's going to make it carnitas. Okay, so let me keep doing this till we get some more pieces that are like that, and this will be ready to serve. But we got to make our crema fresca. So let me go ahead and go over to that now. All right, so in this little bowl, I'm going to add some of this crema. As you can see, it's kind of thick. So you could substitute yogurt if you prefer. I'm going to sprinkle some cayenne pepper in there. A tiny bit of paprika. We can mix that up. I'm going to add some lime. And this makes a nice, tasty crema to pour on top of our tacos. And that's just to change up the crema, give it a different flavor. So you want to try that out, or maybe add your little choice of seasonings to this. But that's ready to go. All right, everyone, our pulled pork, our carnitas. Here we go. They have been frying in the shortening. And you can see that there's a lot of those little crispy bits now on our meat. And I think that is enough. There's a combination of soft and a combination of crispy. So this has been going for about 30 minutes, by the way. And I'm going to go ahead and turn this off. I'm going to heat up some tortillas and we will be ready to make some tacos. All right, everyone, so I've got 3 corn tortillas here and I'm about ready to build my tacos. So I want to put some of this pork inside. Oops, I dropped one right here. We don't want to, you know, waste that one. Okay, so now we're going to put on this one and some more over here. There we go. Let's spread this out evenly. Yeah, there we go. Just a little bit. Leave some space in there. I'm probably going to add another taco to this, guys. So to my tacos, I'm going to add some cabbage, just like that. Some of these pretty red onions make it look really nice and pretty with all the beautiful colors. Some cilantro. Okay, we don't want to forget that we have our crema that we made that we can drip in there like that. Drip as much as you want in there. Let's drip some over on this one here. Yummy. Okay, so then we also want some salsa. Let's get that on there. All right, everyone, there are my tacos. I have filled them up a little bit more, make them look nice and pretty. And I'm gonna go ahead and give one of these a taste. Oh my goodness, I feel like everything is just gonna go flying out. Mmm. Nice, dirty, big old thumbs up. All right, everyone, I hope that you enjoyed my recipe for pulled pork carnita tacos, and that you're gonna try this. It's super easy. Put it in the slow cooker and don't worry about it. And then just come back and do a little bit of frying and it is ready for your family to enjoy. This amount that I've made will probably serve about 6 or 8 people, depending on how many taquitos each one of them want. So maybe less. All right, everyone, subscribe if you haven't already done so. And hit that notification bell. I have videos every Tuesday and Friday, and sometimes a weekend vlog. So make sure you share on your social medias. And as always, enjoy.